Welcome back to BikeBeat. Meet the 2026 Suzuki DR650 Scrambler, a rugged revival of a dual-sport legend, reimagined for the modern-day rider. At BikeBeat, we live for bikes that blend purpose, power, and personality, and this one checks all the boxes. Today, we're diving deep into what makes this bike a standout in the Scrambler world, especially in a market now filled with high-priced style-over-substance machines. Let's start with what powers this beast. The DR650 Scrambler retains Suzuki's tried-and-true 644 cubic centimeters air and oil-cooled single-cylinder engine. This thumper might not win drag races, but it delivers bulletproof reliability and usable torque where it matters most, right off the bottom. Suzuki has fine-tuned the mapping for 2026, giving it a slightly smoother throttle response and more linear delivery, perfect for mixed-terrain riding. Peak horsepower sits around 46 horsepower, with torque clocking in near 54 Nm. That might not sound like much on paper, but throw a leg over and twist the throttle, and you'll feel why this bike has such a cult following. The low-end grunt is immediate, predictable, and ideal for navigating trails, loose gravel, and the occasional urban shortcut. But the big story here is the transformation from a utilitarian dual-sport to a streetwise scrambler. Suzuki's done more than slap on a new paint job. For 2026, the DR650 Scrambler gets a host of purpose-built updates: revised ergonomics with a flatter, Scrambler-style seat, high-mounted exhaust with a redesigned heat shield, and retro-styled tank graphics that throw back to the original DR series. The new LED headlamp and minimalist digital dash modernize the cockpit without overcomplicating things. You're sitting higher than most naked bikes, but lower than traditional adventure bikes, with a seat height just under 34 inches. The new two-tone Scrambler seat offers improved padding, and the handlebar position has been adjusted for better standing control, a nod to off-roaders who spend time on the pegs. Suspension is carried over from the base DR650, but with slightly retuned damping. You're still getting a 43mm telescopic fork up front with 10.2 inches of travel, and a full 10.4 inches out back with the Link-style rear monoshock. It's plush enough to handle potholes and ruts, but firm enough to keep things stable on the highway. Braking is handled by a single 290mm disc up front and a 240mm disc at the rear, nothing exotic, but solid and reliable. New for 2026, Suzuki includes a switchable ABS system. That's a game-changer for anyone splitting time between pavement and dirt, and it finally brings the DR650 in line with modern safety expectations. On the street, the DR650 Scrambler feels surprisingly agile. It weighs in at around 370 pounds dry, not featherweight, but light compared to most adventure bikes. That means it flicks easily into corners and feels planted without being cumbersome. And thanks to its 21-inch front and 17-inch rear wheel combo, you can toss it into dirt roads and fire trails without hesitation. Suzuki wraps the spoked wheels in semi-knobby dual-sport tires, a compromise between off-road grip and street durability. They hum a bit on tarmac, but the trade-off is worth it for the versatility. Fuel capacity remains at 3.4 gallons, giving you a realistic range of about 150 to 170 miles, depending on how heavy your wrist is. Not class-leading, but enough for daily commutes, weekend trail runs, or quick getaways. Now let's talk price, and this is where Suzuki really undercuts the competition. The 2026 DR650 Scrambler starts at just $7,199. In a world where retro-styled Scramblers routinely push $10,000 or more, and sometimes offer little more than a badge and a paint job, Suzuki is giving you a truly capable machine that can take a beating and keep going. Unlike some of its competitors, the DR650 Scrambler isn't pretending to be rugged, it is rugged. It's the real deal. Minimal electronics, just enough tech, and all the mechanical honesty you could want from a middleweight Scrambler. No TFT displays or ride modes here, just a pure connection between rider and machine. And that's the unique selling point of the DR650 Scrambler. It's not trying to be cool, it is cool because it works. This is a bike for people who actually ride, not just post. It's built on a platform that's been proven over decades, updated just enough to meet 2026 expectations, and priced to keep it accessible to anyone who wants a go-anywhere machine. Whether you're a veteran rider looking for a simple, reliable bike to thrash on the weekends, or a newer rider who wants something versatile, approachable, and just plain fun, the 2026 Suzuki DR650 Scrambler is an easy recommendation. At BikeBeat, we appreciate bikes that don't need a marketing campaign to justify their existence. The DR650 Scrambler is a reminder that sometimes, simple is better. Fewer frills, more thrills. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you take the DR650 Scrambler over a modern retro from Triumph or Ducati? We're curious. Ride safe, and we'll see you in the next one.